If one day you stop working, where will your money come from? Many people work hard their whole lives but still worry about money, lacking time for themselves and their families. It's not because they're lazy or incompetent, but because they were taught how to earn money, not how to understand and manage it. In this video, you'll see why some people become more exhausted the longer they work, while others gradually create financial independence. More importantly, you'll understand where you stand and what changes you need to make. Many of us are living in the same familiar cycle. Every day is busy with work. Our time is almost completely filled, yet the feeling of not having enough money persists. As income increases, so does the cost of living, and the pressure doesn't lessen. Many try to work extra hours, taking on additional jobs, hoping things will get better, but instead they become exhausted and worn out. The dank thing is that despite their efforts, they still feel their lives depend entirely on their current job. Just thinking about losing their job or having their income decrease immediately triggers anxiety. Most of us are taught to study hard, find a stable job, and stay with it for a long time to have a secure life. This belief makes many people hesitant to change, afraid of risks, and willing to work tirelessly for years. The problem isn't the effort, but the way we've been oriented about money from the beginning. Robert T. Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, was created to question fundamental aspects of money and how we are taught to earn it. The author recounts growing up with two fathers who held vastly different mindsets, one who valued academic qualifications and a stable job, and another who focused on understanding money and how it works. Through this contrast, the book reveals why many people work hard but lack financial independence, and why changing one's mindset is more important than simply earning more money. The core of the book Rich Dad Poor Dad revolves around changing perspectives on money. Starting with a simple truth that few dare to confront: most of us are working for money, not making money work for us. As children, many are taught that money is hard to come by, that it requires hard work. This belief fuels a constant fear of not having enough money. And when afraid, they readily accept working within a familiar pattern, as long as they receive a steady monthly salary. The problem is that this fear of money inadvertently controls every decision in life, from choosing a career and job to how they spend and save. The more afraid a person is of not having enough money, the harder it is to break free from the cycle of relentless work. The author points out that wealthy people don't hate money, nor do they chase it at all costs. They view money as a tool. Instead of selling their time and energy for a salary, they seek ways to create things that can generate long-term income. Once people understand this, they start asking different questions. It's no longer about working overtime to earn more money, but rather, how can money continue to generate more money? This difference in how they ask the question leads to a huge difference in long-term financial results. One of the most important points the book emphasizes is the difference between assets and liabilities. This is a seemingly simple concept, yet it's often misunderstood. Assets are things that can generate money or provide a cash flow over time. Conversely, liabilities are things that require constant spending to maintain. Many people believe that anything of high value is an asset, but that's not actually the case. If something costs you money every month without generating income, it's essentially making you poorer little by little. According to the book, a common mistake is spending most of your income on liabilities, hoping to have plenty someday. Meanwhile, those with a different financial mindset prioritize building assets first. They focus on things that can generate cash flow, even if it's initially small. Over time, this cash flow gives them more control and choices in life. The difference lies not in the initial amount of money earned, but in how that money is used. The book also clarifies another reality: high income doesn't equate to wealth. Many people have good, even very high, salaries, but are still constantly worried about their finances. The reason is that their entire income depends on their current job. When the job is interrupted, their income is immediately affected. This keeps them constantly stressed, preventing them from taking breaks or trying new ventures. Wealth, according to the book, isn't about how much money you earn in a month. Wealth is about having income streams that aren't entirely dependent on whether you work or not. When money continues to flow even when you're not directly working, you truly have the power to choose how you live. This is why the author argues that focusing on salary increases is less important than building assets that generate cash flow. Another issue that is clearly addressed is financial education. Schools teach people how to study, how to work, how to follow rules, but they teach almost nothing about money. Many people enter life with a lot of specialized knowledge, but they don't understand how to manage their own money. They are not taught about cash flow, how to distinguish between assets and liabilities, or how to think long-term about finances. The book doesn't deny the role of education or a stable job. But it emphasizes that if you rely solely on those things without understanding money, you are very likely to fall into a state of working your whole life without taking initiative. Financial freedom doesn't come from a degree, but from understanding how money works in real life. When people understand this, they begin to proactively seek out financial knowledge for themselves, instead of just relying on what they have been taught. Another important mindset mentioned in the book is the ability to make money. Many people, when faced with financial difficulties, often stop at the thought, "I don't have money." This statement closes off all other possibilities. Conversely, those with a different mindset will ask, "How can I make money from this situation?" This question doesn't guarantee an immediate answer, but it opens up new avenues of thought. The difference isn't about who has more money at the beginning, but about how each person reacts to the problem. Some see the risk and stop. Others see the opportunity and seek to learn. This way of thinking, over time, creates a huge gap between people who seem to start from the same point. The book also emphasizes the importance of learning to develop skills, not just learning to earn a salary. Many people choose a job solely for the salary, without considering what skills the job provides them. This limits them to a specific role and makes it difficult for them to adapt when circumstances change. People with a long-term mindset will focus on learning additional skills that can help them better understand money, business, and how to create value. One notable point is that the book doesn't encourage reckless actions or quitting your current job to chase after vague things. Instead, it emphasizes starting with small changes in mindset and habits. Understanding money correctly, clearly distinguishing between assets and liabilities, and gradually building a solid financial foundation are key. This is a long process, not a short-term one. The author also points out that there are many psychological barriers that make change difficult. These include fear of failure, self-doubt, old habits, and the complacency of thinking one already knows enough. These barriers are not related to circumstances or starting point, but directly to one's way of thinking. Overcoming them is not easy, but it is necessary if one wants real change. In short, the main content of Rich Dad Poor Dad doesn't revolve around numbers or complex strategies. It focuses on helping readers re-examine how they think about money. When thinking changes, actions will change. And as actions change, financial outcomes over time will also change. This book doesn't promise instant wealth, but it lays the foundation for a proper understanding of money, something many people have never learned seriously. After understanding the core principles of the book, the most important thing isn't memorizing a lot of theory, but applying it to daily life. The first thing you can do is look back at how you're using your money. Honestly ask yourself if the things you own are actually helping to generate money. Or are they just causing you to spend more each month? Simply recognizing this is the first step. Next, develop the habit of prioritizing your financial future before spending. It doesn't need to be a large sum, but consistency and discipline. Dedicate a portion of your income to learning more about money, managing expenses, and basic financial concepts. This isn't something you can do in a day or a month, but a long-term process. You should also start asking different questions when faced with financial issues. Instead of thinking you don't have enough money, consider whether there are ways to gradually improve the situation. Finally, remember that change doesn't come from working harder, but from thinking more clearly. When your mindset changes, the way you handle money will change too. Rich Dad Poor Dad doesn't offer a quick rich get rich quick formula. But the book helps us re-evaluate how we think and act with money. Understanding that hard work alone isn't enough, and that assets and cash flow are the key to financial independence, will give you a different perspective on the path ahead. Change doesn't happen instantly, but it begins with understanding and taking small, sustainable steps. If you find these insights helpful in understanding money and life, please like to support the channel. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next videos on financial mindset and how to use money more intelligently. In the next video, we'll continue discussing common mistakes that cause many people to work their whole lives without achieving financial independence.